Hello children, have you ever wondered why do the stars shine? Why do the elements exhibit the apparent order in the periodic table? How do transistors and other microelectronic devices work? Why does copper conduct electricity but glass does not? The answer to all these questions lies in quantum physics. Not only this, I believe that quantum physics can narrate the main stories of chemistry and biology as well. So we need to understand it if we are to understand the life itself. Quantum physics, also known as quantum mechanics or quantum theory, is modern physics and is largely the study of microscopic world. In that world, many quantities are found only in elementary amounts or integer multiples of these elementary amounts. These quantities are then said to be quantized. At first, Einstein said that light comes in bundles of energy. Later, in 1905, he told precisely that light or electromagnetic radiation is quantized and exists in quanta, which we now call as photons. The word photon was not given by Einstein. In fact, it was later given by a chemist named Lewis in 1920. Energy held by a photon as given by Planck's is E is equal to h into nu, where h is the Planck's constant and nu is the frequency of light. This can also be written as h into c by lambda. The value of Planck's constant h is equal to 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34 joules second. C is the speed of light, which is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. Nu is the frequency of light and lambda is the wavelength of light and is related to frequency as C by nu. Being a theoretical scientist, Einstein did not propose this just like that. His theory of light was based on the experimental findings of three scientists, Henrik Rudolf Hertz, Wilhelm Helmholtz, and Philip Lenard. Before starting the story of their experimental works, we need to know what is electron emission. We know that metals have free electrons which are negatively charged and are responsible for conductivity in them. But these free electrons cannot escape out of metal just like that. If at all the electron tries to come out, the metal surface will pull it back by acquiring a positive charge. Thus, the free electron is bounded inside the metal surface by attractive forces of the ions. This electron can only come out of the metal surface if it has sufficient energy to overcome this attractive pull. If we give this energy to the electron, we can pull it out from the metal surface. This minimum energy required by an electron to escape from the metal surface is called the work function of the metal, which is denoted by phi naught and is measured in electron volt eV. A low frequency photon with energy less than the work function won't produce electron ejection, and only a photon with energy greater than work function results in emission of electrons. The work function phi naught depends on the properties of the metal and nature of the metal surface. One can decrease the work function of the metal by oxide coating it, as oxides tend to have decreased work function near the metal and metal oxide interface. These are few values of work function for metals. Cesium has the lowest work function, whereas platinum has the highest work function. It means that the energy required to eject electrons from the cesium surface is the least among the given metals, whereas the energy required to eject the electrons from the platinum surface is the highest. Now we can define the unit electron volt. 1 eV is the energy gained by an electron when it has been accelerated by a potential difference. This unit is commonly used in atomic and nuclear physics, and 1 eV is equal to 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. So to convert eV into joule, one can use this value 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. This work function or minimum energy can be supplied to free electrons by any of the three processes. Enough thermal energy can be provided by heating the metal such that electron gains energy and gets ejected from the metal surface. This process is known as thermionic emission. The emitted electrons are known as thermions and they depend on the temperature of metal surface. You can also apply a strong electric field to the metal and electrons can be pulled out from the metal surface. This is known as field emission. It is also known as cold cathode emission and this is what happens in a spark plug. One more way is shining the light of suitable frequency on the metal surface. Then electrons will be emitted from the metal surface. This process is known as photoelectric emission. The emitted electrons are known as photoelectrons and the current induced is known as photoelectric current. This relation between light and electricity is known as photoelectric effect. It was discovered in 1887 by the German physicist Heinrich Hertz. In connection with his experiment to work on radio waves, he observed that when ultraviolet light shines on two metal electrodes with a voltage applied across them, the light changes the voltage at which the sparking takes place. Photoelectric effect was clarified by two other experimental scientists, Halvox and Leonard. They demonstrated that electrically charged particles are liberated from a metal surface when UV light was incident on them. These particles were identical to then discovered electrons by J.J. Thomson in 1897. Photoelectric effect can be seen in some alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium and cesium when visible light is incident on them. Whereas metals like zinc, cadmium and magnesium are sensitive only to ultraviolet light. This is an arrangement for observing photoelectric effect. Light shining on the negatively charged photosensitive metal surface liberates electrons. The liberated electrons are attracted to the positive plate and produce a measurable current. This current can be stopped if we charge this plate with enough negative charge. We can then calculate the energies of the ejected electrons from the measured potential difference between the plates. Here is the same experiment with more details from NCERT textbook of class 12. The experimental setup consists of a evacuated glass tube having two electrodes. One is a photosensitive emitter plate which emits electrons when exposed to ultraviolet radiation and the other one collects the electrons. A high frequency light is needed for photoelectric effect, so this quartz window allows high frequency light to pass through it and this just falls on the plate C. Battery accelerates electrons through a potential difference which can be varied using a rheostat. Using a commutator key, the polarities of plates can be reversed. The electrons are attracted when plate A is positive with respect to plate C. The electron emission causes flow of electric current in the circuit. Voltmeter measures the potential difference between the plates and microammeter measures the resulting photoelectric current in the circuit. This photocurrent can be increased or decreased by varying the potential between the plates A and C. The two main observations of the experiment were that the photoelectric effect depends on intensity and frequency of incident radiation. The first observation was that magnitude of photoelectric current, or say the number of photoelectrons emitted per second, was directly proportional to intensity of light. As you can see in this graph, if you keep increasing the intensity of light, then you can observe that photoelectric current increases linearly with intensity of incident light. However, energy of photoelectrons was independent of the intensity of light. But then, what is the effect of potential on photoelectric current? Let's keep the frequency of incident light fixed throughout the experiment and now shine a light of particular intensity, say I1. Then gradually let's vary the positive potential of collector plate A using a rheostat and measure the resulting photocurrent each time. The photoelectric current increases with increase in voltage and it will be maximum when the electrons are emitted by plate C reach A. This maximum current is known as saturation current. At this point, even if we increase the potential, current will not increase. Now, if you reverse the polarity, or apply the negative potential or retarding potential to the plate E with respect to the emitter plate C and increase the negative potential slowly, then electrons are repelled. Then the photoelectric current is found to decrease rapidly and current will become zero at a certain negative potential V0. This V0 at which current becomes zero is called cutoff or stopping potential. The stopping potential V0 is sufficient to repel even the most energetic photoelectrons with the maximum kinetic energy. Kmax is equal to E into V0, where E is the charge of the electron. And V0 in volts will be equal to maximum kinetic energy of electrons in EV, that is just remove E from E into V0. The experiment is repeated with higher intensities I2 and I3 such that I3 is the highest intensity and I2 is greater than I1. You can find higher values of saturation current, which implies that number of electrons emitted is directly proportional to intensity of light. But stopping potential remains the same, that is, it is independent of intensity. Or maximum kinetic energy is independent of the intensity of incident radiation. So the summary of this experiment was that photoelectric current is directly proportional to intensity of light, stopping potential is independent of intensity of light, and saturation current is directly proportional to intensity of light. The second observation was that when the frequency of the light was smaller than a certain minimum value, no electrons were emitted at all from the metal surface. This minimum frequency is called threshold frequency nu naught, and it depends on the nature of the material of the emitter plate. Photoelectrons will be emitted only for the frequency greater than that of the threshold frequency. Therefore, electrons will be ejected for high frequency light only. And kinetic energy of photoelectrons will increase linearly with increase in frequency. The wavelength associated with threshold frequency nu naught is called threshold wavelength. Therefore, if you want to find threshold wavelength, then find it at threshold frequency. We know that wavelength increases and frequency decreases from violet to red color light in Wick wire. That's the reason why when red light, which has very low frequency, is incident on the metal surface, no electrons are ejected. When green light of little higher frequency is incident on the metal surface, electrons are ejected but with less kinetic energy. But when blue light, which has highest frequency than red and green, is incident on the electrons, are ejected with higher kinetic energy. Now we know that kinetic energy is directly proportional to incident radiation. Let's know how does the frequency of incident radiation affect the stopping potential V0. In this experiment, let's keep the intensity of incident radiation fixed, say I1, and vary its frequency. The saturation current will behave in the same manner as earlier, but stopping potential will change with change in frequencies. This also concludes that kinetic energy of electrons is directly proportional to frequency. Therefore, we require more retarding potential to stop them completely. If we plot a graph between stopping potential V0 and frequency of incident radiation nu for two different metals, say for metal A and metal B, we see that the stopping potential V0 linearly increases with frequency for a given photosensitive metal, and V0 becomes 0 at threshold frequency, here nu naught for metal A and nu naught dash for metal B. The slope for this curve, which is V0 versus nu, is h by E. Note that the slope is constant for both the lines here as they are parallel to each other. If stopping potential is plotted with 1 by lambda, then the slope of the curve V0 versus 1 by lambda, then the slope of the curve will become hc by E. Now how did we get this? We know that E is equal to h nu. But if E is work function, if the energy is work function, then how do you calculate it? You calculate it at threshold frequency nu naught. Let this be 1 and let this equation be 2. We also know that the maximum kinetic energy of the electrons is equal to E into V naught. Let this be 3. Now we have an equation known as Einstein's photoelectric equation, which we will study later in detail. It says that the maximum kinetic energy is equal to E minus phi naught. This equation completely explains the photoelectric effect. We have E minus phi naught here because the photoelectric emission does not occur when the energy of incident radiation is less than that of the work function. So the energy greater than that of the work function is to be taken into account only for photoelectric effect. So we know that K max is E into V naught from equation 3, and from equation 1 and 2 I can write that this is equal to H nu minus H nu naught, or I can find V naught as H nu by E minus H into nu naught by E. How do we find the slope for a line? We do y by x. Therefore, for V naught by nu, the slope will be H by E, and for V naught by 1 by lambda, the slope will be Hc by E because nu is equal to C by lambda. Another observation of the photoelectric effect is that the electron emission takes place instantaneously without any time delay, even if the intensity of light is very dim. Now, to summarize this lecture, we have laws of photoelectric emission. Emission of electrons is possible only when sufficient amount of energy is incident, and the minimum energy required to do so is the work function phi naught. Number of electrons emitted per second is directly proportional to intensity of light incident on the surface. However, energy of these electrons is independent from the intensity of light. But the energy depends on the frequency of light. The frequency of light should be greater than the threshold frequency nu naught. Now let us solve few important MCQs for your competitive exams based on today's lecture. The first question reads, in the photoelectric effect, if the intensity of light is doubled, then maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons will become double, half, 4 times, no change. Here I would request you children to pause the video and answer by yourself. I assure you that you can answer this question without using a pen and a paper. Yes, you are right. Kinetic energy of the photoelectrons does not depend upon the intensity of incident light. Therefore, the answer will be no change. The next question is, if the work function for the surface of aluminium is 4.2 eV, that is the work function phi naught is given for aluminium, what will be the wavelength of that incident light for which the stopping potential will be 0? So you have to find the wavelength lambda. You know that the stopping potential will be 0 for threshold wavelength of incident light. As they have given that the stopping potential is 0, it means that the wavelength should be lambda naught. Now you can easily find lambda naught with the well-known equation. How do you get it? Your phi or the work function phi naught is equal to h into nu naught, or this can also be written as h into c by lambda naught, or you can find lambda naught threshold wavelength, which is equal to hc by phi naught. Now you have all the values, just substitute them. So we know that lambda naught is equal to hc by phi naught. H is given, the Planck's constant, 6.6 into 10 to the power minus 34 into speed of light, we know 3 into 10 to the power 8. This was in joules second. This will be in meters per second, divided by the given work function 4.2. It is in EV, that's why convert it into joule, into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 joule. This joule will cancel with this joule. This second will cancel with this second. The remaining will be only meter, and then just multiply the numerator and multiply the denominator. Divide the numerator by denominator. You will get 2.946 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter. You can also write as 2946 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter, or convert it into angstrom, because 1 angstrom is equal to 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Write it as 2946 angstrom. So your answer will be D. This question is a comprehension type question. Based on the given data, you have to answer the questions given. Okay. So the question is, a physicist wants to perform an experiment on photoelectric effect. He has a light source which emits light of wavelength of 450 nanometer. The table lists the only available metals and their work functions. So the scientist has these given metals, the barium, lithium, tantalium and tungsten, and their work function are given. So you have to answer the questions based on this data. The first question is, which metal or metals will he use to irradiate electrons by photoelectric effect from given source of light? So the options are given, the names of the metals are given. So what will he do to irradiate electrons by photoelectric effect? His source of light is 450 nanometer wavelength. Okay. So first he will find the energy of one photon which the given light source produces. So for this we have to calculate the energy. This is a trick to find the energy of the photon. How did you get this constant value 1240 into 10 to the power minus 10? It is very simple. We know that E is equal to h nu, or you can say that E is equals to h into c by lambda, or if you write h into c by lambda into EV, you will write h c by E into lambda. Then you can write the values of the constant h c by E, all the constant values, into 1 by lambda. So if you multiply h into c by E, the constant you are going to get is 1240 into 10 to the power minus 10. So it's better that you memorize this value, and this will be equal to by lambda. So your energy can be calculated like this. So let's just substitute the values and find the energy. E is equals to 1240 into 10 to the power minus 10 by the given wavelength 450 nanometer into 10 to the power minus 9. This will give us 1240 by 4500, and the answer will be 2.75 eV. Now we know that the photoelectron emission can take place for the energy which is greater than the work function, or just greater than the work function. So just greater than the work function means here we have 275, 2.5 and 2.3 are the values which are just less than E. So therefore you can say that barium and lithium can be the suitable metals. So the answer is B. Next question is, this correctly identifies the metal that will produce the most energetic electrons and their energies. So you have to find the maximum kinetic energy. We have the maximum kinetic energy is equal to E minus phi naught by Einstein's photoelectric equation. So we know the maximum E. Our maximum E is 2.75, and we know that the phi naught should be the least phi naught to have maximum kinetic energy. The least phi naught amongst the table is for lithium, which is 2.3. This will give us 0.45 eV. And this is for lithium. So the answer will be A. The next question is, suppose photoelectric experiment is done separately with these metals with light of wavelength 450 nanometer. The maximum magnitude of stopping potential amongst all the metal is? This is a very simple question, children. This also you can answer without using your pen and paper. We know that the stopping potential is in volts. We can calculate it by using maximum kinetic energy. If it is in EV, then we have the maximum kinetic energy of electron volts will be equal to the stopping potential. We have just now calculated the maximum kinetic energy 0.45 eV. So the V naught or the stopping potential will be equal to 0.45 volt. So this is a graph based question. The stopping potential V naught versus frequency plot of a substance is shown in the figure. The threshold wavelength is. So you have to find the threshold wavelength. So graph based questions are important questions, children. So you have to focus more on them. So here if you want to find the threshold wavelength lambda naught, you need threshold frequency, isn't it? Because lambda naught is equal to C by nu naught. But do we have threshold frequency in the question? Yes, we have. This is the threshold frequency. We know that photoelectrons will be emitted only for the frequency greater than that of the threshold frequency, and kinetic energy increases linearly with increase in the frequency. So the nu naught here will be nu naught is equal to 5 into 10 to the power 14 hertz. Now it is very simple. Just substitute the values 3 into 10 to the power 8 by 5 into 10 to the power 14. So the answer will be 6 into 10 to the power minus 7 meter or 6000 angstrom. So the answer is B. The next question is, which one of the following graphs represents the variation of maximum kinetic energy EK of the emitted electrons with frequency nu in photoelectric effect correctly? So this question I leave it up to you children. Please do mention the answers in the comment section, and I will be happy to clear your doubts. So please do ask if you have any, and also let me know your feedback in the comment section. Bye.